Here is a 2024 Buick Enclave Avenir front-wheel drive 1SP in moonstone gray over whisper beige leather-appointed interior. This may be the final year for the naturally aspirated V6 VVT. Getting a full refresh for 25, is this going to be a better option because of the powertrain? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and right off the bat, you're gonna see on this fascia the headlight assembly is unique to the Avenir. LED headlights and daytime runnings. You have a two-face tier with the way the lights are structured, with the chrome bar that goes into the Buick badging, and another unique twist is the grille is specific for this Avenir. So you get the iced chrome interior elements. The lower is going to get some gloss black inserts with the chrome surrounding it, with clearance at 7.5 inches. And underneath this hood is going to pack the 3.6 liter VVT V6. 310 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission. It's going to reach 60 around 6.5 seconds. Same powertrain as the Cadillac XT6, achieving 18 mpgs for the city and 26 mpgs for the highway. 20-inch wheels, multi-spoke. These are also exclusive to the Avenir, with the chrome surrounding pretty much the whole side except for the touch of gloss black right here. The 1SP gives you a technology package with hydraulic dampers and steering collaboration, including the premium ride suspension chassis, headlamps with enhanced Avenir design. 204.8 inches long. We have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, frontal collision with front pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert, and a 360-degree reverse camera. And to top that, we have a digital rear view mirror, so it pretty much gives you about a 180-degree view for the rear without having to even use blind spot monitoring. No more torque rear vectoring differential, a strut front suspension multi-link, rear suspension towing at 5,000 pounds. So it's spot on with all the rivals, whether it's the new Mazda, Honda, Kia, except for Infiniti. They're going to be at 6,000 pounds for the all-wheel drive. The rear is going to get LED taillights, and the chrome is going to go underneath the older Buick badging, which will be redesigned for the 25. It will also look a little bit more sleek and more wide for the front fascia, and pretty much doing the same thing, more of a boxy element for the rear design. Because it is a naturally aspirated V6, I would like to see dual exhaust outlets. They're tucked underneath and hidden, and instead we get the chrome with the inserts that has a vent look that also can mimic an exhaust outlet style. For that digital rear view mirror, the camera, they actually placed it right here, which is a lot better than putting it onto the shark fin antenna, because it's exactly flush with the bumper, giving you that 180 for the view. Power liftgate going into 23.6 cubic feet of storage, and what Buick does to give even more storage is you get another 3.1 cubic feet here, which is waterproof. Move this little bag here so we could close it with a 12-volt charger, split fold the second row. From the back, you do have to hold the buttons at a 60-40 split, increasing cargo to 57.7 cubic feet. I folded down one of the captain seats so you can see it extends to 97.4 cubic feet. It's a wide opening, and the bumper will set up just a little bit, but this might be the last year for the VVT V6. So let's go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. 12-way power seat adjustment for the front, heated, ventilated, massage, Avenir badging, piping and contrast stitching, perforated memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. The footwells are deep. It is driver focused. That's why we got the bar. We also have the pass-through right here, which has a 12-volt charger hidden. It's hard to see, but it's there, I promise. And going on to a long, flat dashboard layout, we have the digital rear view mirror, which is always a nice treat because it basically gives you a 180-degree view. Heads-up display, and I like the contrast stitching that goes into the satin aluminum and the gloss black elements or piano black. 8-inch infotainment screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. To put it into reverse, we have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear, and you can also change different camera angles and you can zoom into them also. Tri-climate control settings, wireless charging, USB ports, and the SD card that is also derived for that navigation. Wood inlays and the gloss black elements opens up into the key fob for the Buick. It's going to be more soft, opens up, and you get a big storage tray that can be lifted, and it's a deep storage pocket. I like that it still has soft materials all around it. Leather wrap steering wheel, 3-spoke multi-function. With adaptive cruise control, it's heated. Lane keep assist, paddle shifts. The gauge cluster has a digital reader in the center, and you can also change different driving modes right here on the fly. So you just push this mode button, and you can change it from Tour to Sport, and that's pretty much all she wrote. And on the heads-up display, you can change the configuration so you can see the RPMs. You can also see your sound system and the turn-by-turn navigation. What's nice about the Buicks is the Buick quiet tuning, which is what these little speakers are. There's 10 Bose speakers throughout. This is going to be the noise cancellation that's on the roof. So when you're considering it's a vehicle in the 60 grand, that's for vehicles in the $100,000 price point. The dashboard and the door panel integrated together, and you get a little bit of that Buick interior design. It's going to be soft to touch everywhere, one touch up and down only for the front windows, which are dual pane. In the storage pocket is going to have about 2 beverage holders carved out, and you can change how high you want your tailgate to open. Second row sits up a little bit more so than the front, but your headroom is still good. You also have the moonroof designed just for the second row with air vents in the ceiling, leg space, and you can adjust this forward so you have more leg space in the back. You can adjust this back, but it can't go all the way back with the third row down. Storage behind both of the front seats, third climate control heated rear seats with a home plug and 2 USB ports. The floor is pretty much flat, so you have a pass-through for the captain seat design. This lifts up, it doesn't stay stationed, so whenever you're reclining the seat, it's still going to be lifted upwards with the seat design. The door does not have any sunshades. You're going to have the wood inlays with the satin aluminum, and you get one touch down with a couple of storage tiers because this is kind of also like a bottle holder the way it's designed with a little area for a phone, soft to touch. And the door pocket gets about 2 flasks standing upwards that way with the chrome around the Bose sound system. Because of the limousine design, you can only enter really from this side here to move the seat forward. You do not have that mechanism behind the driver's seat. Going inside, I'm going to slide this back so you can see right off the bat for your leg room. You're going to be kind of grazing, so for 3 it's going to be a little bit tight. You will be sharing some feet space because of the rails. You have a cup holder, you have USB on both sides, air vents in the headliner with LED interior lights. The moonroof for the second row doesn't really come back to the third row, but the windows are pretty large, and headroom is not bad. And to slide into the center so you can see feet space, you can pretty much just put here like that and rest a little bit. Otherwise, butt and shoulder space is going to be tight because this kind of comes outwards, but it is doable for 3 occupants to sit in the third row. This may be the last time you're hearing a 3.6 liter V6 with 310 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque in the Enclave, because it is more than likely going to be the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which, don't get me wrong, it should be fine. I just like naturally aspirated engines myself. I hope that they increase the towing to 6,000 pounds like the rivals, and I hope that they keep some of the standard luxury amenities in the vehicle because you're getting a lot of safety and you do get a lot of tech for the price. This is more or less a Cadillac rebadged. So when you're thinking about a XT6, you might want to consider this. Yes, you'll lose 1 year of warranty, but it's really hard for me to swallow another $5,000–$10,000 in price when everything is more or less the same. The dash will be a little bit different, but you're still getting that 8-inch touch screen. So it's not something that's such a wow factor that pushes me to that area. We're going to show you some of the performance, so what we're going to do is stop here, make sure we are in sport mode, and we're going to see how powerful this thing is. Now we're going to see the performance before the bend of the road. It's a settled drive. The massage seats, it kind of hurted my back a little bit because it really pushes on the lower lumbar area. I like the width, and the interior boasts that as well, so you have a lot of interior space. Stopping isn't too bad. It's going to feel a little bit heavy, but you're expecting that. As for going any imperfections or speed bumps, it's pretty smooth. Keeps it very quiet. Buick does a great job with the sound deadening. It's one of the best in class considering the price that you pay for, because they're adding sound deadening on the roof. They're adding it through the interior and exterior around the engine, so they're just really masking it as much as possible. And here we go. The front window, it's large enough. I like the steering wheel, it feels good, it's nice and big, so I understand that this is over 200 inches long. Plenty of safety features. The side view mirrors I wish were a little bit bigger to stress the 204.8 inches of length, but I get the sports style that they're trying to blend in with the Avenir. That's going to take me to some pros and cons. This year is more or less a carryover, so you're not getting anything that's going to change for tech or safety. It would be nice that they threw a few little tweaks in. I like that the Avenir has some unique twist to it, so the headlight assembly, the grille, the wheels, and you pretty much get the vehicle fully loaded with the optional adaptive dampers, which makes the drive even more smooth with clearance nearly at 8 inches. Going to some cons, the small touch screen, that I wish they would have at least addressed. They could have threw in the 11-inch that they're throwing into pretty much all the Buick lineups and gave us the 8-inch digital cluster. I understand they would have had to maybe configure the dash a little bit, but still it would have been a nice treat considering the full refresh next year. We're still kind of up in the air. Hopefully they take care and address that on top of addressing the towing that's only 5,000 pounds, which when you get into Infinity, 6,000 pounds for the all-wheel drive. You can see for maneuverability, the steering is going to have a little weight to it, but it's still more of an everyday drive. It just kind of glides. Standard acoustic front windscreen, dual pane side windows. Avenir is really stepping it up a notch. Going against Mazda, cargo capacity could be better, because if you compare this against the new Honda Pilot from last year's refresh, you're getting up to over 100 cubic inches, and it's not as long a vehicle as this. The same thing with the Mazda CX-90. Here you're going to have more leg space and headroom for the third row, though. It's going to be very similar to the Honda Pilot. Going against the Infiniti QX60, the interior of that is going to be more luxurious, but you're going to be spending about $8,000 to $10,000 more to get the same features, and you're going to have more horsepower here. You're going to have more horsepower than most of the rivals, but torque becomes an issue because of the VVT. They just don't give you. They needed to put it at least 285 to 295. 266 is good enough for that 5,000 pounds, but that little extra cushion would give us that 6,000 pounds of towing. Front wheel drive, so you will have to just kind of touch the pedal because it does get wheel happy. And the biggest issue or con that I have is for the second row. You sit up higher, and when you fold down the second row flat, you can't adjust the seat all the way back. then the worst part is you can only really access the third row from the passenger side because they don't give you a handle to fold up this seat. So I understand we're getting a savings, and maybe that's why Cadillac might be a better option, but because of the savings we're getting, I mean, it's not going to cost them that much, considering they're still giving all the power seat adjustment to the passenger side and massage seats. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to be right at 2-ish lanes. Let's rock and roll. What I like about this engine is when you're getting up onto the interstate. Hold on, can we make it? We make it? It did not turn red. I just want to let everybody know in the comments. It was still caution, and for braking, probably would not have been able to brake in that distance. But you can put a comment and tell me what you think. Going back to this engine, when you're going onto the interstate, you have full power capabilities. I'm catching every yellow night. I don't know what it is. Whereas when you get into these turbocharged engines, they're good for engine fuel consumption, but for the power getting past 70 miles per hour, it can get a little bit more tough, bogging it down and making you feel the weight when you're pushing the pedal. You're not going to have that so much here when you put it into the Sport. And even if you're driving it in Tour, the only thing that I have noticed is it gets wheel happy for the front wheel drive. That could be a little bit better when you go into the all-wheel drive, but it just depends on what you really need it for. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise website and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Coast Buick of Port Richey for giving us this 2024 Buick Enclave Avenir 1sp for our car review.